Leverage is the name of the game. And it took me a really long time to figure out how to structure my team. When I say team, I really mean team of admins, because that's what I have. I'm a top solo agent. I'm the number one in our office of about 1,200-ish agents. But I'm not doing it by myself. And anyone who thinks they can do everything by themselves is, well, crazy because you can't. You absolutely cannot. You won't have a life. You won't be able to enjoy yourself. As you mentioned, I have a 4-year-old and he is, my goodness, so energetic. And I want to be present. I want to be there to pick him up. I want to be, present with him from 4 o'clock until, he's in bed by 8 o'clock. Like that's the prime time that I want to be present and not work. And that's also when a lot of stuff happens, real estate wise, people are off work, they're calling, negotiations are happening. So I have a very leveraged team. I have a director of ops. She does, all of our operations, client care, and truthfully, she's our manager. I think a lot of teams have like a sales manager, big teams that they hire to manage the agents. I think one of the reasons that people do this, maybe they're not admitting it so much, is that a lot of us who are really driven, we're high Ds. And maybe management is not our forte. It sure isn't for me. And so hiring Mary to manage for me took a big burden off of me because every time I would get an EA that was talent, I couldn't maintain them because I'm just not a good manager. I would either throw too much at them, and just be too, that conversation of how strong do you like your communication, how blunt, 1 to 10, and almost everyone says 9 or 10, but in reality, most people are a 7. I'm a 10, and if you tell me a 10, I'm gonna be a 10 with you. And I think a lot of people say that because they want to please, but in reality, it doesn't work. So I would go through EAs, and finally I realized like I'm the problem. So I hired Mary. She's my director of ops and client care. She manages our TC, who's a per deal person who just handles contract to close, and our clients pay for that. So that's a pass through cost. She oversees our marketing intern. That's a college kid. She's, a junior in college this year. She's been with us since she was a freshman. She does our Instagram, our Facebook, TikTok. She gives me homework, what videos to record because I don't have time to come up with those ideas. And I'll take a page from, oh God, what's his name? Who does Ken Pozak, where he said at a mega camp, don't re-record. That's just how you look.
Yes.
And now that's my motto. Don't re-record. That's just how I look. That's just how I sound. Don't waste the time. So she's in charge of marketing. Then we have two VAs. One is Monday through Friday. The other is Thursday through Monday. Why? Because weekends are when things happen. Most people want to go out and see things on the weekend. They email, they text, and I need someone to handle that so that I can be present with my family and enjoy my life. And the last position we have is a runner. The runner is a newer agent in the office. They just need some extra cash. They'll run from appointment to appointment, maybe between their own showings, and they'll go and pick up lock boxes, drop off seller disclosure if someone, needs to fill it out by hand or something like that. That's a big ad because that's little stuff I don't need to be doing, and that's someone that needs to be here in person. So that's the admin side of things. And that equals 6 people, 6 different roles. And then on the buyer side of things, I utilize showing agents. Um, my model is different than other people. I do not pay per door. I pay hourly plus a percentage of my commission, to motivate them to help sell the house, right? I've found that when people are not motivated to sell the house or they're just being paid per door, they'll open like 20, 30 doors and they don't care. There's no reason for them. But if they're getting a percentage of the commission, there's the motivation. So I have 2 different showing agents that I utilize during the busy months to go out and show homes. This doesn't mean that I don't show homes. It means that I only show homes to the people I want to show homes to and at the times I want to show homes. So that's my structure. And that's how I have the time to sit on boards and be with my, kiddo and my husband and to, I just became the treasurer for the Women's Council of Realtors here. Like this is how I have time because leverage.
And I think that's why so many people were surprised, amazed that like and I'm using efficient, that you're able to do all those things with all the people in your world that support you. So you're because I'm just curious how things work in Philly compared to Dallas, Texas. So and I know everything is different. So you're just your TC alone. What does that run? Is that anywhere from 3 to 400, or is it less or more?
Yeah, in Philly, it's about 400 a deal.
Okay.
They're taking care of compliance. They're in my command. They're making sure I'm compliant and I can get paid. So they're contract to close. They do have a service where they could write up the contract for me. I have VAs to do that. Our contracts in Pennsylvania are what I call plug and play, like they're blanks, and we just put in everything. So my VA will write it up and then I'll put eyes on it just to make sure it's correct. Because I'm the fiduciary, right? I have to make sure what I'm sending is right.
Absolutely.
But that's what the TC charges, and we just put it right on the Alta, and the client pays it. And I think one of the conversations I have with a lot of other agents who are not having their clients pay it is how do you overcome the objection that someone might have?
Absolutely.
Um,
That was
and I
next.
think,
That was coming
yeah,
next.
perfect.
Yep.
So here's my script. It's really simple. This fee, it's called a broker fee. Some people call it a transaction fee. Other people call it a conveyancing fee. This is what my office charges to handle everything from contract to close. It's part of your closing costs. It keeps your documents for 7 years. That's the clincher, by the way. People are like, oh, well, it keeps my documents. Keeps my documents for 7 years, and just takes care of everything in the back end to make sure everything is smooth. I do not get people questioning me on this. So buyers and sellers pay it.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, again, that's a little nugget and an ad that we might have to incorporate. And it's crazy because forever ago, and again, I've been in this office, I think, for 23 years. And I know about 22 years ago, we had a transaction fee. And I think at one point our broker was like, oh, we shouldn't do that anymore. And I think we stopped doing it. But as I meet other agents from around the country, it's not unusual. It's not, there's nothing wrong or unscrupulous about it. And I think it would definitely improve our profitability. That I know. And that's another reason why I wanted to chat with you, because your profitability is so crazy, so much so that my coach asked me, he said, Ben, if you were going to be on stage with Gary, why would you be there? What would be your specialty? And in my market, it wouldn't be because of the units that I sell or the millions that I sell. For me, it would be from profitability, because he would have me there, and I think yours is even higher. My goal is to get to a 70% profitability. And Alison, I think you're there or more, right?
I am. Yeah, we're about 79%.
79% profitability.
Yeah.
Again, that's stupid. And again, you know that it is. And you
I
know
know.
how unique you are.
It's because we run a really lean business. I do not pay for leads. I've never paid for Zillow. I don't, someone early in my career, when I thought about paying for Zillow, my sponsor actually said, paying for Zillow is like drinking from a fire hose. You might get a drop of water. And I was like, wow, that's so perfect. So I've never paid for any of that. And for me, it's like we just are DTD2. That's our big source of leads. We reach out to our past clients and just constantly say top of mind. We don't specifically say, who do you know who wants to buy or sell real estate? We just stay top of mind. And by giving the 5-star client care experience, and then checking in 4 times a year, just, do you need anything? Hey, I thought of you. What did you end up doing the updates in the house? That just provides like a level of care post settlement that people adore, and they become raving fans and they refer you a ton of business.
Again, my good buddy Kelly Can is on, and she's a DT D2 person. So it works if you do it. And I think
Yes.
if you stay consistent. So I never have, but again, it is what it is. It might be, it's a growth opportunity for me. So um, let me ask you quickly, all of those people in your world, let's say your ops manager, is it her responsibility to help train these VAs? Because I'm the person who I've tried it a couple of times and I realized that I'm the problem. I didn't know how to train them, right?
Yeah.
To really support my business. Is it their responsibility, or do you get training from, from My Outdesk or Cyberback or whoever it is you use?
Yeah, I think it's a combination. My Outdesk and Cyberbacker are both good, but it's the person that we're looking at, not the company of who we hire, of course. And then beyond that, I think one of the biggest nuggets I can give is when you hire someone, record your screen to just teach them what you're doing and then save it, right? There's a couple different options for that. There's Vimeo, there's Loom, there's a couple other screen recording services. And then they can go back and re-watch the video of whatever you taught them, and then they're going to learn by doing. So we have like a folder, huge folder, a drive of pre-recorded videos of stuff we've done. Here's how to write a contract. I always want this particular here and this particular there. Here's how to write a buyer agency agreement. Here's how to write a listing contract. I want all of that recorded so that if we have to replace someone, it's easy. It's really easy to do. They can pop in, they can watch, they can learn. And on top of that, if we had to replace our weekend spot is the one we often have to replace because for whatever reason, people don't like to work the weekends, and I get it. So our weekday person will often train them. So they'll shadow the weekday person for 2 full weeks. And then Mary will have, my director of ops, just a Google video chat open for 2 weeks straight with them to talk through and walk through what she's doing so that she can really hands-on train them.
Wonderful. Okay. I probably have two or three other questions, and I'm mature, so I'm forgetting what they are. So, uh, um, what what are you, is there something you're going to enhance, add to what the Simon sales Philly team, something you're going to do differently or add to your pile in 2025 to continue to win at a higher level? Because I think, half the time on this call, we've got a really nice mix of newer agents and veteran agents. And I know for me, it's really just more intense focus on the things that I've been doing, being consistent. For me, it's 5 conversations a day. That gets me to where I need to. And it's so simple. Is there anything that you're going to do?
I think for me, we want to get better at client events. Our client events have been, I don't want to say lackluster. We have 4 a year, and we had one event where I didn't do my job to call and invite because life, whatever my excuse was, but that led to a pretty lackluster event where maybe 4 people showed up. And that's not what you want. You want a minimum 10 to 15 because of the turnaround with it, right? Like
Yes.
that makes sense to me. That's a big one for us. We really want that. Um, I think that's the big thing for me that I really want to do.
Mhm.
I maybe want to do some education, more education. I like to train. That's part of my value proposition to showing agents is that by coming on board and becoming one of my showing agents, they're going to turn around and have full access to me all the time. If they're writing a contract and it's 8:30 at night and my phone is normally like not available for clients and they call, I'm going to answer their call and I'm going to help them with whatever needs to be helped. That's something I really enjoy doing, and I want to do more of that in this coming year.
That's great. And it's funny, I'm setting on a panel tomorrow about giveaways and experiences and client appreciation parties. So I'd like to think that we're doing it at a high level. We just completed my annual jazz event, and we had 100, and 100 is typically, that's my goal and target. And so we hit that. Now it's costly. And I think for 2025, I'm now going to work on getting even more support, because typically I don't look to get my events underwritten by folks, but that one is such a costly event. We got about a 30%, I'd call it, contribution. And my goal for 25 is to get it at least 50 or 100%. But that's going to take some effort. So again, that's a growth opportunity for me. And I know that a number of folks here, especially, uh, again, I'd like to say Monique does it well. And I think we can all tweak a few things. And I also had folks pay for their attendance at that event. And I think the brothers at the coalition team there in the the DMV area, I've been talking to them for a year or so, and they're like, absolutely, Ben, you're bringing a great time, food, a great band. It's okay. And so for me, it was kind of party with a purpose, and it allowed me then to contribute those funds into three of the charities that I love and support. So I will definitely be doing more of that. So um, before I let you go, I know there was a question or two I think Monique had asked, and you could probably see those, Allison. I think they're asking about maybe your assistants, are they licensed or something? And Monique,
Yeah.
I screwed that up, chime in. So is she?
Um, Yeah, I tried to answer it in the chat, but
Oh, you
I'll
did?
say
Okay.
it so in case people aren't watching the chat. So the two VAs are in the Philippines. Mary is my director of ops. She's in person. She is licensed because when I go away, she literally takes my phone so that I can go on vacation. I have two phones. And the personal one, as we call it, the super secret bat phone. And that one goes with me. And the work phone stays with her. She has to be licensed to be able to have certain conversations. However, she's like an SC on the disc. She has zero interest in selling real estate, and only has her license so that she can be a part of those conversations. So in terms of like KW, she's a licensed admin. That's how they view her. But she's not doing any production of any kind.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I saw Monique's comment that it's so weird how we can send out these emails and texts for events, but people don't come until you like actually pick up the phone and call them. It's it's constant.
It,
It's
it
so
is.
annoying.
It is. And what's crazy, and I hope someone learns from this. I've been doing this business for 30 years and had never called past clients. But they had gotten calls, they had gotten videos, they had gotten text messages, but never got a phone call from me until I started hosting events because it just didn't feel genuine to me because I'd have so many I talked to them and they're like, Ben, I'm good. You just sold me a house a year ago. And I'm like, that's not why I'm calling, right? I'm like, this is marketing. I'm trying to stay connected,
Yeah.
trying to maintain mind share, and they didn't really understand it. And so then after hosting events, now it gives me, I mean, and we're crazy. We might pull back. We do something every 60 days. We've got an experience, a
Wow.
giveaway, or a client appreciation event. And so it allows me now to make sure that we're having at least 4 to 6 conversations with those clients because it's, hey, I just want to make sure you got the invite. Oh, you guys are sending regrets. Love to see you. Can't wait to see you, man. We had such a great time, whatever it is. And I'll tell you, I can't believe that I have just now started to allow my raving fans to invite a friend to bring someone along. And I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
know why that took me so long to do
Yeah.
because we want to grow our database with amazing people. And when we're working with amazing people, they know amazing people. Isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
All right, right? I'm like, Melissa, Gabby, Kelly, why did it take so long to figure that out? But now I'm here. And so every event now, we're making sure that, yes, absolutely, Allison, bring your best girlfriend with you, right? So
Yeah.
I would suggest that everybody do that because again, it'll help you. Trust me. So,
I think our best event, which we pushed back on doing for years, and it's just such a win, is we have an orchard that they grow pumpkins, they grow literally everything. Lynn Villa Orchards. It's about a 45-minute hour drive outside of Center City. And we host an event there. We pay a photographer and we get family photos done. And I pushed back on that family photos idea for so long. I think it was probably because I was like, that's so cheesy. Everybody does it. It's such a good event. Everybody comes and then they rave about the photos. And then you have so many touches afterwards where you're like, here are the photos. And then people respond. And then you're like, oh my goodness, look how great you look. And then suddenly it's their card that goes out, right? And it's that event. And it's fairly inexpensive because Mary gets vendors to pay for it. So we don't really pay for our events. She is really good at getting other people to pay for the event. What I can leave people with. Okay, so people get overwhelmed when they look at my org chart and they see, all right, I've got 6 admin, that's crazy. I would say to think of the 3 to 5 things that you want off your plate today. What could you do? Who can you hire to get those 3 to 5 things off your plate? Um, this is how we think, to the point where actually my director of ops and I started a side business. It's called Mastering Leverage, because we feel that a lot of people have leverage and they use them incorrectly, or maybe the person's in the wrong position and they would be better served over here. And so it's like a little rotation. So we have a side business, masteringleverage.com, where we sell Mary's trackers and all of her systems that she built for me to make my life easier. Um, and I would say it doesn't have to be huge. Maybe think of the big picture for the 5-year plan, right? But for the next year plan, what could you leverage off your plate? And it doesn't necessarily have to be work. It could be at home. Could you get a cleaner if you don't have a cleaner? Could you get a gardener if you don't have a gardener? Someone in our mastermind told me that she has a chef that comes and prepares food at the beginning of the week so that cooking is really easy for her. And that was mind blowing because it turns out to be cheaper than it would be if you went out to restaurants. And it's like, why didn't I think of that? So.